June 14, 2019. 6:47 p.m. Captain Marcus Thornfield transmits his final radio communication to Marina del Rey Harbor Control. Weather conditions optimal. His family excited. See you in 7 days. 48 hours later, the Coast Guard discovers the Thornfield family S-42-foot yacht drifting empty in the Santa Barbara Channel. No distress signal, no emergency beacon activation, no bodies. This is what really happened. Marcus Thornfield wasn't your average weekend sailor, but 23 years of commercial maritime experience and a master mariner's license. He'd navigated vessels through North Atlantic storms and Pacific typhoons. At 52, he was finally living his retirement dream, taking his wife Sarah, their twin 16-year-old daughters, Emma and Grace, and 14-year-old son, Dylan, on a week-long cruise to the Channel Islands aboard their meticulously maintained Catalina 42 Serendipity. Timestamp 0:30, when Serendipity failed to check in at Santa Cruz Islands Prisoners Harbor on June 16th. The Coast Guard initiated Operation Urgent Marine, deploying 3 cutters, 2 helicopters, and activating the automated mutual assistance vessel rescue system across 14,000 square nautical miles. But what puzzled Chief Petty Officer Lisa Rodriguez was on just the missing family. It was the yacht's condition when they found her. Every piece of safety equipment remained secured. The engine showed no mechanical failure, and the GPS navigation system displayed a course deviation that violated every principle of Marcus Thornfield's documented sailing methodology. The forensic maritime examination revealed disturbing anomalies. The FBI's analysis revealed Kozlov had been hiding in Serendipity's forward cabin since the yacht departed Marina del Rey, planning to disembark at a predetermined coordinate where another vessel would extract him to international waters. Marcus's decision to bring his family had compromised a meticulously planned criminal operation. The final piece of the puzzle came from deep-sea sonar mapping conducted by the research vessel Pacific Explorer 43 days after the disappearance at coordinates 340-142N, 119-4118W, precisely within the figure 8 pattern. Serendipity had traced sonar detected 5 distinct objects on the ocean floor, 847 feet below the surface. ROV dive footage confirmed what investigators feared. The Thornfield family, weighted down with dive belts and chains, had been systematically murdered and disposed of in what maritime forensics experts called the most methodically planned familicide in U.S. Coast Guard history. Victor Kozlov had executed them one by one, using Marcus's own emergency dive weights to ensure the bodies would never surface. Dylan's phone video captured the horrifying final moments. Sarah pleading for her children's lives, Marcus begging Kozlov to take him but spare his family, and the twins holding each other as they realized what was about to happen. Kozlov had made one critical mistake. Before disposing of the final body, young Dylan, he'd used the boy's fingerprint to unlock the smartphone, inadvertently triggering the cloud backup that would ultimately expose his crimes. The video ended with Dylan's terrified whisper, "Mom, I'm recording this. If something happens to us, make sure they catch the man with the accent." Victor Kozlov was arrested 14 months later at a marina in Montenegro, attempting to board another private yacht carrying $47 million in cryptocurrency hardware wallets. Extradited to the United States, he received 5 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. But maritime investigators are still haunted by unanswered questions that reveal the sophisticated nature of this criminal network. How did Kozlov know the Thornfield family's exact sailing schedule? Who provided him with detailed schematics of Serendipity's cabin layout? And most disturbing, how many other accidental maritime disappearances were actually carefully orchestrated murders? The Thornfield case forced us to reevaluate every suspicious yacht disappearance from the past 5 years, revealed Captain Morrison. We identified at least 7 other cases with similar technical anomalies. Families who vanished without trace. Vessels found empty with no evidence of distress. And navigation patterns that defied logical explanation. The investigation led to the discovery of what the FBI now calls the Maritime Protocol, a systematic method used by international criminal organizations to eliminate witnesses by staging boating accidents. The technique exploits the ocean's vastness and the Coast Guard's assumption that missing vessels indicate accidental tragedy, not deliberate murder. Coast Guard Rear Admiral Patricia Stevens implemented new investigative protocols following the Thornfield case. Every missing vessel now triggers an automatic criminal investigation parallel to search and rescue operations. We examine satellite communication records, analyze navigation anomalies, deploy specialized forensic teams trained in maritime homicide detection. The changes came too late for Marcus, Sarah, Emma, Grace, and Dylan Thornfield. But their story has prevented other families from falling victim to maritime-based assassination schemes. Dylan's courage in recording those final moments didn't just solve his family's murder. It exposed an international criminal network that had been operating undetected for over a decade. Sarah Thornfield's sister, Jennifer Walsh, established the Maritime Safety Foundation in the family's memory. Sarah always said the ocean was a place of peace and adventure. She never imagined it could be weaponized by criminals who prey on innocent families. Our foundation trains private yacht owners to recognize signs of criminal infiltration and provides emergency communication protocols for suspicious maritime encounters. The foundation's research revealed disturbing statistics. Between 2015 and 2019, 1 to 7 private vessels disappeared in U.S. coastal waters with no distress signals and no survivors found. Of these, 41 cases exhibited technical anomalies, similar to Serendipity's final voyage. Navigation patterns that suggested deliberate human intervention rather than mechanical failure or natural disaster. The Thornfield murders taught us that criminals viewed the ocean as the perfect disposal site, explained FBI Agent Chin. International waters provide jurisdictional complications. Vast search areas make body recovery nearly impossible, and maritime accidents are rarely investigated as potential homicides. For organized crime syndicates, boats represent the ideal murder weapon. But the most chilling aspect of Victor Kozlov's confession was in his description of the murders. It was his revelation that the Thornfield family was targeted specifically because of Dylan's age and technical sophistication. Criminal organizations had identified teenage passengers as potential security risks because of their constant smartphone usage and social media documentation of family activities. Kozlov told investigators that modern teenagers pose unique challenges for maritime-based criminal operations. Morrison revealed their instinct to record everything, combined with automatic cloud backups and location tracking, creates digital evidence trails that older criminals didn't anticipate. Dylan Thornfield's phone became his family's voice from beyond the grave. The technological evidence that solved the Thornfield case has revolutionized maritime criminal investigations. Coast Guard analysts now routinely examine cloud storage backups, satellite phone records, automatic vessel identification systems to detect criminal activity disguised as recreational boating accidents. However, maritime security experts warned that criminal organizations have adapted to these investigative advances. Recent intelligence suggests that sophisticated smuggling networks now employ signal jammers to disrupt satellite communications and use specialized underwater disposal techniques that defeat traditional sonar detection methods. The Thornfield case was a wake-up call for the maritime security community, stated Dr. Amanda Richardson, director of the International Maritime Crime Research Institute. We realized that criminal organizations view private recreational vessels as ideal platforms for money laundering, human trafficking, and witness elimination. The ocean's vastness provides cover for crimes that would be impossible to execute on land. The Research Institute's analysis of the Thornfield murder revealed the systematic nature of maritime-based organized crime. Victor Kozlov was a lone operator. He was part of a network that included corrupt marina employees who provided vessel schedules, maritime electronic specialists who disabled safety equipment, K, and deep-sea diving experts who ensured bodies were never recovered. Coast Guard investigators discovered that Kozlov had been living aboard various private vessels for over 3 years, using the maritime equivalent of safe houses to avoid detection by international law enforcement. His method involved identifying legitimate charter operations, infiltrating their client networks, and then eliminating witnesses who discovered his criminal activities. Kozlov's operation was incredibly sophisticated, revealed Agent Chen. He maintained false identities in 12 countries, held valid maritime licenses under multiple names, and had established relationships with corrupt officials in major international ports. The Thornfield murders were unrandom violence. They were the calculated elimination of witnesses who threatened a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise. The investigation into Kozlov's broader network led to arrests in 7 countries and the seizure of over $200 million in cryptocurrency assets. However, maritime law enforcement officials believe that V only scratched the surface of international organized crime as infiltration of recreational boating communities. Jennifer Walsh S. Maritime Safety Foundation now provides free security assessments for private yacht owners planning extended voyages. Marcus thought he was helping wealthy individuals enjoy maritime adventures. He never realized he was facilitating international money laundering operations that would ultimately cost his family their lives. We're working to ensure other families don't fall into similar traps. The Foundation's database has documented over 300 suspicious maritime incidents since 2015, revealing patterns that suggest coordinated criminal activity across multiple ocean regions. Their research indicates that organized crime syndicates specifically target experienced mariners like Marcus Thornfield because their legitimate credentials provide cover for illegal activities. Professional mariners are ideal targets for criminal recruitment, explained Foundation researcher Dr. Michael Torres. They possess the technical skills necessary for complex maritime operations. They have access to legitimate vessel documentation, and their professional reputations make them less likely to attract law enforcement attention. Marcus Thornfield's tragedy illustrates how criminals exploit maritime professionals' expertise for illegal purposes. Timestamp 10:15. The Foundation's analysis revealed that cryptocurrency-related maritime crimes have increased by 340% since 2018, as criminal organizations seek methods to move digital assets beyond traditional banking oversight. Private recreational vessels provide ideal platforms for transporting hardware wallets and accessing offshore cryptocurrency exchanges. Coast Guard Admiral Stevens announced new international cooperation protocols designed to combat maritime-based cryptocurrency trafficking. The Thornfield investigation revealed that modern maritime crime requires global law enforcement coordination. Criminals like Viktor Kozlov exploit jurisdictional boundaries and international maritime law loopholes to avoid prosecution. The new protocols include real-time sharing of vessel tracking data between allied nations, coordinated investigations of suspicious maritime activities, specialized training for maritime law enforcement officers in cryptocurrency crime detection. These measures directly address the investigative challenges revealed by the Thornfield case. However, maritime security analysts warn that criminal organizations continue evolving their operational methods. Recent intelligence indicates that some networks now use autonomous underwater vehicles to transport cryptocurrency hardware wallets, completely bypassing surface vessel detection systems employed by law enforcement agencies. The technology that solved the Thornfield case. Dylan S. smartphone backup represents both our greatest investigative tool and our most significant vulnerability, observed Dr. Richardson. Criminal organizations now employs sophisticated electronic warfare techniques designed to disrupt the digital evidence trails that modern investigations depend upon. The Maritime Safety Foundation's research has identified specific warning signs that recreational boaters should recognize as potential indicators of criminal infiltration. Unusual charter requests that specify particular crew members as clients who pay exclusively in cryptocurrency, and voyage modifications that involve unexplained course changes or unscheduled stops. Sarah Thornfield's discovery of those financial documents in Marcus S. navigation case represents the moment when criminal activity intersected with family life, Walsh explained. Her instinct to question those transactions, combined with Dylan's decision to record the confrontation, ultimately exposed an international criminal network. Their courage in those final moments saved other families from similar fates. Timestamp 12 o'clock. The Foundation now provides free smartphone applications that recreational boaters can use to automatically document their voyages, creating digital evidence trails that would assist investigations if criminal activity occurs. These applications include panic buttons that simultaneously alert Coast Guard authorities and upload location data to secure cloud servers. Coast Guard statistics indicate that the maritime security measures implemented following the Thornfield investigation have prevented at least 12 suspected criminal operations from targeting recreational vessels. However, investigators acknowledge that determined criminal organizations continue adapting their methods to exploit maritime law enforcement vulnerabilities. Victor Kozlov's confession revealed the systematic nature of maritime-based organized crime, stated Captain Morrison. His network had contingency plans for various scenarios, including protocols for eliminating witnesses, disposing of evidence, and evading international law enforcement. The Thornfield murders weren't impulsive violence. They were the methodical execution of predetermined criminal procedures. The most disturbing aspect of Kozlov's testimony was his description of other families who had encountered his network as operations. Maritime investigators now believe that several high-profile yacht disappearances attributed to accidents or natural disasters were actually carefully orchestrated murders designed to eliminate witnesses to criminal activities. The Thornfield case forced us to reevaluate fundamental assumptions about maritime safety, revealed Admiral Stevens. We had been investigating missing vessels as search and rescue operations, and we should have been treating them as potential crime scenes from the moment they were reported overdue. The Coast Guard's new investigative protocols now include mandatory criminal background checks for all personnel associated with reported missing vessels, automatic forensic examination of recovered maritime electronics, coordinated intelligence sharing with federal law enforcement agencies investigating financial crimes. These procedural changes have revealed the extent of criminal infiltration in recreational maritime communities. Since implementing the new protocols, Coast Guard investigators have identified criminal activity in 23% of reported vessel disappearances, a statistic that maritime security experts find deeply troubling. The Thornfield family's story represents a fundamental shift in how we understand maritime crime, explained Dr. Richardson. Criminal organizations have weaponized our trust in the ocean's recreational nature, using our assumptions about boating accidents to disguise systematic criminal operations. Dylan's smartphone backup did just solve one murder. It revealed an entirely new category of organized crime, the International Maritime Crime Research Institute. Analysis indicates that similar criminal networks operate in every major ocean region, suggesting that maritime-based organized crime represents a global security threat that traditional law enforcement agencies are poorly equipped to address. Jennifer Walsh's advocacy efforts have resulted in new federal legislation requiring maritime insurance companies to report suspicious vessel losses to law enforcement agencies. The Thornfield Act mandates that insurers coordinate with criminal investigators before processing claims from missing recreational vessels. Insurance fraud was another component of these criminal operations, revealed Agent Chen. Networks like Kozlov's would target vessel owners for recruitment, then stage accidents to collect insurance payouts, while eliminating witnesses, who might expose their broader criminal activities. The Thornfield murders were both witness elimination and insurance fraud. The legislation has already prevented several suspected criminal operations from collecting fraudulent insurance payments, but maritime security experts worry that criminal organizations will adapt by targeting uninsured vessels or developing alternative financial incentive structures. Coast Guard forensic specialists continue analyzing evidence recovered from the Thornfield crime scene, hoping to identify other criminal operations that may have used similar methodologies. Their research has revealed sophisticated criminal techniques that exploit fundamental vulnerabilities in maritime law enforcement capabilities. Victor Kozlov possessed detailed knowledge of Coast Guard search patterns, maritime law enforcement procedures, and international jurisdictional boundaries, Morrison explained. His criminal network had studied our operational methods and developed countermeasures designed to exploit our investigative limitations. The Thornfield case revealed that we were fighting a war we didn't even know existed. It's a revelation that criminal organizations conduct detailed surveillance of law enforcement maritime operations has prompted the Coast Guard to implement operational security protocols previously reserved for military activities. These measures include classified search patterns, encrypted communications, and compartmentalized intelligence sharing. However, maritime law enforcement officials acknowledge that they re-engaged in an ongoing technological arms race with criminal organizations that possess substantial financial resources and sophisticated technical capabilities. The criminals' ability to adapt to new security measures continues challenging traditional investigative approaches. The Thornfield investigation taught us that modern maritime crime requires interdisciplinary approaches, combining traditional law enforcement with cybersecurity expertise, financial intelligence analysis, and international cooperation, stated Admiral Stevens. Criminal organizations like Kozlov's network operate across multiple domains, physical, digital, and financial, requiring law enforcement responses that transcend traditional jurisdictional boundaries. The Maritime Safety Foundation's research continues documenting suspicious maritime activities, building the comprehensive database that law enforcement agencies use to identify patterns suggesting organized criminal operations. Their work honors the Thornfield family's memory by preventing other families from encountering similar threats. Dylan's decision to record his family's final moments was unjust brave. It was strategically brilliant, Walsh observed. He understood that his smartphone might be their only opportunity to communicate with the outside world. His technological Their work continues, the Thornfield family's legacy, by protecting other maritime communities from similar threats. Marcus, Sarah, Emma, Grace, and Dylan Thornfield did you just lose their lives to criminal violence. They sacrificed themselves to expose a threat that could have claimed countless other families, Walsh stated. Their story serves as both a warning about the dangers lurking in maritime communities and an inspiration for the ongoing fight against organized crime. The Foundation's research indicates that maritime-based organized crime continues evolving, increasingly sophisticated operational methods. The answers to these questions will determine whether the Thornfield family's sacrifice leads to lasting improvements in maritime security or becomes just another tragic chapter in the ongoing war between law enforcement and organized crime on the high seas. What maritime mysteries do you think deserve deeper investigation?